Hey, I'm glad you're here. Today, we're going to go over some amazing tips, things that I wish that I would have known when I first started crocheting, things that I've learned throughout my time, things that I really believe is going to help you on your crochet journey. So, whether you're a beginner or whether you just want some extra little nugget, I got you. You're in the right place. So, let's hop in. The first tip that I want to talk about is writing down, whenever you start a project, write down the hook size that you're using, the yarn that you're using, and what it is that you're doing. And the reason that I'm saying that is because when you first start a project, you're all into it. But guess what? Life happens. You have to put it down, you get busy doing something else, and before you know it, you are stuck with a half done project or partial done project, and you can't remember what it was that you were making. And if you do, you can't remember exactly what hook that you were using. I have done that way too many times. I've had to rip out so many projects because I couldn't figure out what hook that I used, or I couldn't remember what exactly I was doing in the first beginning. So make sure you write down the hook size that you're using, the yarn that you're using, what pattern that you're using, or what idea that you had in the beginning. It's also best to organize. So whenever you start a project, get a bag or a box or something to contain everything for that project right there. I'm not saying that you have to leave the hook in there. As a matter of fact, I don't have enough hooks to leave the hook for every project that I make. But if you write down what hook that you're using, you can easily go grab it so that when you want to start that project again, it's easy, it's simple, and you just flow with it. The next tip that I want to talk about is marking your very first stitch. It sounds simple enough, but trust me, when you get in the middle, in the flow, and you're going, especially on these long projects, when it's a repetitive stitch over and over, you get comfortable with what you're doing and you forget to mark that stitch. And a lot of times with that turning chain, that first stitch of the row kind of gets hidden. So when you come back to it, it's a little bit twisted. By marking that stitch at the very beginning, it makes it a lot easier for you so that you don't drop stitches. It helps you keep track. And that leads me to tip number 3. Tip number 3 is to count and mark stitches throughout the row. So, for instance, this is an old whip that I found when I was digging up stuff. Ooh, I've got yarn everywhere. You ever have yarn everywhere? I've got yarn everywhere. So I count the stitches throughout the row. I marked my first one, and in this I counted 20 stitches and then put another one. 20 stitches and then put another one. Sometimes I do 50. Sometimes I do 10. It really depends on my headspace. I live my life by squirrel moments, and I am flighty sometimes, right? So sometimes I know that I'm kind of foggy that day. So I mark more than what I probably would on super clear days. So in this particular case, it was every 20. That's really my go-to. 20, between 20 and 50 stitches. But no lie, sometimes I have to mark every 10 because I am really bad because my brain is going. Like as I'm crocheting, it is my peace, it is my silence, it's my meditation. So my brain is sometimes way down the road where my focus should be here. It doesn't always work like that. So yes, please mark your stitches so that you don't have to go back and rip everything out when you realize that your stitch count isn't right. It really does save a lot of time, even though it takes time to mark. Overall, it takes a lot less time to do that than it does to rip everything out and redo the whole row all over again. Or sometimes several rows. I've had to do several rows before. Now, tip number 4 goes hand in hand with the last 2, and that is to start in the very first stitch and catch the last stitch. Now that goes hand in hand because, like I said, if you mark your very first stitch, when you come back to it, that will be the last stitch. It makes it easier so you don't drop it. I am the queen of dropping stitches. I add stitches where they don't belong, and I drop stitches when I shouldn't. So it also keeps your edges nice and straight. Always catch that very first and the very last. The next thing I want to talk about is counting your rows. There are so many ways to do this. And again, this is something that I personally struggle with. To this day, I struggle with counting my rows because, like I said, my brain is off window shopping somewhere and I'm not really paying attention, especially if my stitches are repetitive. So marking my first stitch helps me bring me back. I have to physically take it out in order to actually move forward. Counting my rows is a lot different. So in this example, again, I'm going to show you how I keep track of my rows, even though I have a really difficult time counting them. So I do have this little row counter that I use, but to be honest, I forget to mark the next stitch or the next row. So it was 10, I moved it to 11. I forget, and so I guess I get lazy. Don't judge me. Anyway, so I found it easier to keep track like this. So as you can see, there are bumps right here, right? Along this edge. So this was our starting chain and we went down and then we came back up. So this bump right here is the top of row number 1 and the beginning of row number 2 going back down. So if you count these little bumps in multiples of 2, you'll be able to find out exactly how many rows that you have. So for instance, on this particular one, we've got that's 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32. And because this has come up here, I'm at 33 because once it goes back down, it'll be 34. So I've got 33 rows in this little swatch right here. That's the easiest way I have found to keep track of my rows when I'm working something flat like this. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is complex patterns. When you're a beginner, it's really easy to look at something and think that I'm not ready for that. I can't do that, but you can. Because every single pattern, no matter how complex it is a combination of the very basic foundational stitches, which is the single crochet, the double crochet, the treble crochet, triple crochet, and a variation of that. So they're all variations and combinations of those basic stitches and the slip stitch as well. So let me give you some examples, okay? I'm going to go from simple patterns to a little bit more complex patterns. I've got some samples that I want to show you. So this is just a basic star, and I'm sorry, it's not blocked. I apologize. This is just a combination of single crochet and double crochet. That's it. It's just made in a pattern in combinations that make a star. Another one is this. This is a combination of treble crochet and double crochet. That's it in a magic ring. Then you got your diamond. These are all double crochet, and this is one of my works in progress, my whips. These are all worked in the back post. That's what makes this pop out. So it's just a different variation of that double crochet. It seems like it's a lot, but it's really not. Okay, so in this one's got a lot of different things going on. So we've got double crochets in here. We've got treble crochets right here. And these are all double crochets. Now, this is a popcorn stitch. A popcorn stitch is a variation of the double crochet. So, and of course, we've got single crochets in there as well. So, like I said, it really is a combination or a variation of those very foundational stitches. This is also only single crochet and double crochet. That's it. This pattern, super simple to make. Again, just a little pattern that takes simple basic stitches to make amazing things. So don't let complex patterns overwhelm you. I'm going to show you a couple more. This one, you pretty much already see that. Okay. We've got the treble crochet. We've got the popcorn stitches, which is a variation of the double crochet. We've got double crochet. We've got the front post. We've got the back post. This is like a slip stitch after the fact. Okay. So it's just a variation of the slip stitch. And then, of course, we've got the puff stitches, the popcorn stitches, the pretty basic. It's just the way that they're put together that makes them look super fancy. Don't let it get overwhelming for you. Once you get comfortable with foundational stitches, the single crochet, the half double crochet, the double crochet, and the treble crochet, those foundational stitches, you will literally have everything that you need to do any pattern. Seriously, you got this. With that in mind, I want to move on to tip number 7, which is try everything. When I first started, amigurumi was really something that I didn't want to try. I didn't want to try it because I felt like it was a fad. I didn't want to try it because it was super tiny and I didn't think that I could do it. What I found was I love it. And so I decided all I was going to do was amigurumi. That's it. That's all I was going to do. And I did for a long time. And then I realized, you know what? Amigurumi takes a lot of attention. It's not something that I can sit in front of the TV and veg out on. Although I enjoy it, I love it. One of the things that I love the most about it is because a lot of the patterns are pretty quick and easy, and I can see the results of my labor immediately. Immediately meaning within several hours sometimes. It's pretty quick, right? I can see what I'm doing really quickly, and I like that. I am definitely motivated by results. I am one of those that likes instant gratification. I know that sounds bad because that's supposed to be a bad thing, but it's really not. If I know myself well enough to know that I like the instant gratification, it motivates me, it propels me to do more, then of course I'm going to do things like that. However, there are times when I don't have the mental capacity, because we talked about the foggy part, I don't have the mental capacity to actually complete a project, an amigurumi project. I just want to relax. I need to chill. I'm overwhelmed. It's feast or famine. Either I am full blown, super hyper focused, or I am completely mentally overwhelmed and I just need to chill. Something that is repetitive enough to where I don't have to really think too hard about it. As long as I mark my stitches along the way, I really don't have to think a lot about it. I count my stitches and I move on. So try everything. Don't count yourself out. If you enjoy making wearables, which I have recently realized that I really do enjoy making wearables, then do it. But don't limit yourself to just that. Explore other things because your mood might tell you that you want to do something else, or your mental capacity might tell you you want to do something else, or you might want to create something a little bit different. I'm not saying you have to do all of it. You don't have to go all in for everything, but give yourself a chance to literally try wearables, blankets, home goods, amigurumi, even plushies. That's something that I have not done. I haven't tried the super fluffy yarn. I like my worsted weight. Anyway, but try everything. Don't limit yourself. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is when you're first getting going, practicing, there is no need to buy a ton of yarn just to practice on something. If you don't really know what you're doing and you're not really sure you want to buy something for a project, use your scraps. Here is scraps. So it would be really easy to go, there we go. And just practice. I want to practice my chain. Y'all, I had a hard time with the chain. It took me 48 years to figure out how to make the chain right because it was all wonky and scallywampus. And then my single crochets, I couldn't figure out how to get it right. Some of them were tight, some of them were not. It was just sad, like literally sad. So I want to try my double crochet. Well, I don't have to worry about using or buying yarn for that. Just use some scraps. It doesn't have to be anything super fancy. It could just be something like this, right? Just hand it. Oh, don't be like Marty. Pay attention to what you're doing. Anyway, you can just do whatever it is that you want. You want to practice single crochets, cool beans. If you find a pattern that seems a little bit complex, that you're a little bit worried about, do I know how to do this? You need to build that confidence up. Grab yourself some scraps. It could be something like this, like that was from a project and I didn't need it. That was the end of my ball. It could be something just a little teeny ball of yarn that you can actually practice with. So don't go buy a bunch of yarn until you have a specific project that you want to do. If you just want to practice, it could be anything, any kind of yarn. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be expensive. Now I want to get down to the nitty gritty. You gotta stretch. Look, crochet can hurt, okay? Your hands cramp up, your arms cramp up, your elbows. I have a hard time with my neck because I'm like this, right? I'm crocheting like this all the time, looking down, looking down, looking down. Every so often, just stretch. Move your neck, your shoulders, get it going. Stretch your hands and stretch. Your posture is important as well. It's really easy when you're getting into a project and you just going like this. Sit up. Make yourself sit up. I've had to set a reminder on my phone. Like, eat, sit up. Girl, sit up. Because again, my brain doesn't always work right. So make sure you stretch. Make sure you move. Make sure you do what you got to do to eliminate that pain. The absolute most important tip that I even have for you at all of these have been pretty good. And let me know in the comments which one is your favorite. But this one right here is absolutely critical. Celebrate your imperfections. Celebrate them. It's not just about perfect stitches, right? It's about finding joy in the entire process. This is something that can benefit you. It can benefit your entire family, all of your loved ones. It's something that can bring joy to everybody around you. So find joy in the process. Celebrate your imperfections because it's not going to be like that forever, right? I think beginning and learning to crochet is probably the most wonderful thing that I've ever experienced because not only was I creating something that was useful, which at that time of my life, it was super important, but it was okay that I screwed up, right? And I kept all of them. I have a box of my screw ups. And the reason that I have a box of my screw ups is because every time you do something, you get better. So celebrate that imperfection and then go do it better and do it again. And pretty soon you're going to look back on your first tries and go like, oh my gosh, we got it.